So this morning, I'm going to start in hero's pose. Take the block portrait, 2/3 of the way down the mat, I guess, something like that. And just bring the knees together. Take the toes out a little wider than the hips and gently sit back. We're not going to stay here too long. I just want to get the beginnings of a bit of a stretch through the knees and into the ankles. So sitting up nice and tall, roll those shoulders around gently. And if you prefer to take a neck stretch, you could do, but just keep it gentle. And if you're rolling the shoulders, remembering to go both ways. And then we'll lift him back up. I told you we weren't going to be here long. Move that block out of the way and we'll bring ourselves into child's pose. So I'm going to take the knees wide now, toes together, sit on the heels, and allow myself to take the hands out. Just wriggle down slowly in that nice long spine, letting the chest drop, head comes down very late. And try to keep the shoulders soft, even though the hands are out in front and the elbows are off the ground. Slowly lift the head. I'm going to take it into a twist. I'm going to take the hands a little bit further back so I come up high, give myself some space. I'll take the left hand underneath, drop that shoulder and ear down onto the ground. You can hear the squeeze in the voice as I come in. Leaving that front hand stretching out just nicely. Well, I'm close to getting the shoulder on the ground. It's not quite there. Normally, if I'm warmed up and it's in the evening, that will be touching the ground. So it just lets me know that the body is working with the fact that it's early in the morning, it's the first stretch, and it's a little chilly. You can use the hands to press down, lift back up, and then take myself out to the second side. Yeah, we'll press our way back out of that. Come up onto all fours for a little flow of cat-cow. Bringing the knees directly underneath. Rolling the chest forward, shoulders back, tailbone up. And exhaling it. Tilting the pelvis, and the spine round up, pressing into the hands and the knees lightly. Seeing how the spine feels, noticing where any little tight knots might have formed overnight. Working through them nice and gently. Practicing with a degree of self-respect. And come back into a neutral position and walk the hands forwards, keeping the hips over the knees. I'm just letting myself sink into a melting heart. I'll try and let the chest relax down, the shoulders be nice and wide away from the ears. I'm going to sink a little chest down rather than looking for that long line between the hands, shoulders, and hips. I'm letting this droop down a little bit, but I'm not letting go completely. Just want to keep careful how I treat the shoulders and the upper back, middle back, keeping the belly drawn in. And finishing the next breath, I'm going to use the fingers to walk slowly back, hands onto the floor. Sorry, from the floor onto the mat. Get there one day. And spreading the fingers out as I tuck the toes underneath, lifting the knees up slowly into a down dog, which I'm going to use a stretchy version. Just letting the legs open themselves out. Now, you don't have to do the stretchy stuff. Down dog, you can allow yourself to just be static in the position. You can take straight legs or bent legs. It feels right. It allows you to lengthen the hips up towards the sky, get some space in the spine. I'm going to walk hands in towards the toes, so moving towards the back of the mat, seeing how those legs feel, without the idea of being stretched out. Fingertips stay on the ground. Just broadening out through the shoulders so it doesn't feel like they're collapsing around the ears or the throat. Lightly into the feet, drawing the belly in, hips press up towards the sky a little, head hangs. Bring the hands onto the hips, shoulders and elbows back, soften the knees, and let myself lift up slowly. I'll just shake that out a little bit as I walk into the front of the mat. Let the feet hip distance and parallel. Hands coming towards the heart. Well, let's take the hands up towards the sky and over the head. Turn in a straight line. Let the hands come back through the heart, hinging at the hips. Long flat body. Soften the knees, weight into the toes as you come down, shifting that weight around. Hands onto the hips, lifting up. Into the heart. Straight up towards the sky. Bring them back in. Allow yourself to hinge forwards again, taking the weight through gently. And hands onto the hips. Lift up. We'll take that one more time. Progress from that forward fold. So exhaling down. Taking the right foot to the back of the mat into lunge. I'm going to drop the back heel in, ready for warrior two. Put the hands onto the front side, we lift our body up and just open out long. And bring the hands in towards the heart. And rotate gently down towards the floor. Fingertips arrive, and then just bending the back knee down and tucking the toes, low crescent. Take the hands alongside the body. Allow ourselves to lift up high. Bring hands back down to the floor. Take the toe on the back foot and lift the knee. Left hand up into a twist. Hand comes back down to the floor, and we step back into down dog. We'll come forwards into plank. Let the knees come down. Bend the elbows back, chest between the hands and elbows tight to the ribs. Just slide the feet back. Untucking the toes and pressing the legs down and away. Low cobras. Try if you can to get into the habit of rolling the heels outwards in low cobra and keeping the space in the lower back. Come up for a last lift. Bring the hands down to the bottom of the ribs. Press the shoulders back and peel away from the floor. Hook the toes underneath so you can sit onto the heels into a mini child's pose. Forwards, round spine, back onto tabletop. Neutral spine, lift the knees into down dog. Allow yourself to draw your right knee in towards your chest. Bring your foot through into lunge. Out through the back foot. Take a little breath. Press off the toes into that forward bend. Onto the hips. We lift. Into the heart. Up towards the sky. So we're not quite back bending. We are taking the shoulders up high, lengthening the arms out. We'll come back down to the floor. Take it into lunge, that left foot on the fingertips. Nice long leg, low hips. Take a little breath from here, drop the back heel down. Coming into warrior two, use the hands to lift again. Open up the groins as we lift. Then we'll bring the hands in towards the heart. Let ourselves come down to the floor. Drop the back knee down onto the ground, onto the toes. Hands alongside and then float them forwards. Lift ourselves up. We'll come back down with the fingertips and place that left hand as we tuck toes and lift the knee. Right arm comes up into the twist. Down to the floor. Step it back into a down dog. And forwards into plank. Knees to the ground. Elbows back is point prone. Chest. And then slide the feet back. Keeping those elbows tucked in nicely. Low cobras. Last lift. Hands down to the ribs. Peel away from the floor. Hook those toes under again. Sit onto the heels. Rounded spine. Neutral tabletop. Toes tucked under. We lift into that down dog. We'll draw the left knee into the chest. Bring the foot through into lunge. Push off strong back toes. Forward fold. Hands on the hips and lift up. Just take the feet back into the front of the mat. Tend to travel with this version. Hands into the heart and up towards the sky, directly above the head. And then on the exhale, bring the hands back through the heart. Allow yourself to hinge to the ground. Taking the right foot back and dropping the heel in. Bring the hands alongside the body this time and allow yourself to cartwheel up into your warrior two. Bring the hands in towards your heart and we'll bring the hands down to the floor. Stepping back into a down dog. Nice breath in. Use the exhale to come into the plank. Push forwards on the tippy toes, elbows into the ribs for half. Turning the bootlaces down, up dog. Strong legs. Lifting the hips, down dog. Right knee into the chest. Foot through for a lunge. A breath. and step it forwards as you exhale. Forward bend, hands on the hips and lift up. Hands into the heart, directly up to the sky. And bring the hands through your heart as you exhale down. Left foot back into lunge and drop the heel. Dynamic lift. Hands alongside. Cartwheel the left hand up. Hands into the heart. Float down to the floor. Step it back into down dog. Forwards into a high plank. Push forwards on the toes. Bring the elbows to the ribs. Careful not to drop too low. Up dog to down dog. Left knee comes in and through. Front of the mat. Press off the back toes. Warrior to forward folds. Hands to heart. Inhale high. This time set the arms out wide. Come down by the side of your body. Palms face forwards a little bit. Take a breath here. And a scratch of the nose as well. And opening the eyes to bring the hands to the heart. Hinge down to the floor. Take a little breath. And step it back. Into down dog. And bring the toes onto the center line, ready for pigeon pose. I'm going to draw the right knee towards the body. Take the knee to the outside of the elbow as it comes forwards. Keep it high. Bring the heel towards the center line. And then squeeze the heel in towards your groin as you hold in this three-legged version on tippy toes and hands. And then exhale the shin down to the floor. And slide your back foot away as you keep your belly drawn in and roll those shoulders back. Tuck the toe on the back, lift the knee, lift the hips, move gently back into our down dog. And throw the left knee in towards the chest. We'll take that out towards that left elbow. Hold it there. Bring the heel across and squeeze the heel in. Remember to breathe. And then slide the heel down and shin to the floor and walk the back foot away. Lifting up and rolling the shoulders back, keeping the belly in, letting the hips sink, long spine. A little bit of ab work thrown in. No one saw it coming. We like surprises. Lengthening the back leg out a little as well. Good, 2 more breaths. And we'll tuck the toe on the back foot. Lift the knee, lift the hips, roll it up into our down dog. And come through into plank. Let the knees come down again, hip distance apart. We're going to come into child's pose. I'm going to take the hands towards the toes. And we'll bring the hands forwards to lift slowly So the hands right into the front edge of the mat, shoulder distance apart. Now lift into down dog. I'm going to draw the right knee in towards the body, holding the down dog shape, and then extend the leg back up towards the sky out as straight as I can. Bring the knee back in, bring the foot to the floor, change over slowly. So feeling the weight change through the body and the shoulders and arms, squeezing that leg in, and then stretching it out. Try and keep the hips square to the ground. And then slowly bring the knee back in. Foot to the floor. Transfer over to the right. Bring that knee in. Lengthen the leg out. Bring the knee back down. Foot to the floor. The last side. So knee squeezes in. Hold up high in that down dog. Lengthen the leg out. Toes following the line of the mat. He comes in. Feet to the floor. We move into plank. And let the knees come down just below the hips. And take a little breath. Inhale that right arm up to the sky. We're going to twist it under and thread the needle through. Exhaling down. Inhale and lift back up. Hand high again. Back round. Inhale high. And down. And 2 more. Last one. And this time, we'll just bring the hands back onto the ground. Lifting up the opposite way, opening out. And through. Now we'll come through and under for the last time. And bring ourselves back onto all fours. We're just going to pivot on the knees and take the feet out to whichever side you like. Allow ourselves to take the feet forwards. We'll move gently onto the block. And bring the feet together. Toes flex back a little bit, sitting up tall and just rolling the shoulders back a fraction. Drawing the abdominals in as well. So by default, really breathing a little more into the chest and the ribs and the diaphragm. Take a seated twist. I'm going to take the left foot underneath, out towards the right hip, so knees point forwards. Right foot comes across, close into the body, knee high. Tilt the pelvis forwards and lengthen the chest to the sky as you take your left hand up and rotate across to the right. Be aware of the head position. You see a lot of people in class are dropping the head, and that just really puts a lot of strain on those neck muscles and the upper back. And keep the head level, much easier. Also encourages you to lift the heart a little bit as you breathe in. And we'll release and take that to the second side. Taking that right hand up, twisting around. Release from there. And the legs out again. Slide just off of the block. Have the feet together. And draw the left leg in. Take the left hand underneath the shin and the calf, and just rock the hip open a little bit by taking the knee out to the side and bringing it back in. I'm going to try and sit up tall at the same time and working through the long leg, just flexing the toes up towards the sky and keeping it pointing towards the ceiling. Then release that foot over, take a little breath, and allow myself to slide the sole of the foot in on the other leg. Now I'm going to keep this foot really super nicely flexed and take the knee that's closest to me as far away towards the front of the mat as I can. I'm also going to roll the shoulders back a little bit and down so they're starting to lift. And take a breath and lift my bottom away from the ground. Slide your buttock in towards your heel and then slowly lift the hips and try to draw the knee down, keeping the actual hip bones the same distance from the floor, so avoiding twisting through the body. Pressing down through the shoulders so that they feel like they're squeezing together a little bit. We'll lower back down again. Slide towards our block. And from the legs out, toes and heels together again, sitting down Dandasana. We take the right leg in, again just to open the hip joint out a little to the side. Active long leg, sitting tall. So wobbly Dandasana, I guess. And then we'll bring that leg across, flex the foot again, take the hands back. Hand position really is choice. It's whatever feels good in the shoulders. Slide the sole of the foot back. That super flex foot. Roll the shoulders back, lift the chest. When you're ready, lift your bottom. Float it in. And then we'll lift it up. So a little bit of awareness of the center line of the mat. So try to keep your pubic bone over that. And try to keep the hips from rotating around underneath you. And trying to lengthen the tailbone towards the front of the mat. And as we said, squeeze those shoulder blades down towards the floor. Chin in towards the chest so you can watch the whole thing going on. We'll come back down again. Gently. Whew. Slide your bottom back. Lengthen your legs out. So you're going to move the block out to the side for the moment, and then bring the knees high, roll the bottom in towards the heels, so a little more towards the front end of the mat. Going to bring the toes and heels in towards the bottom, thighs together, knees high. Let the hands come out wide, lining up with the chest. And then simply, when I'm ready, taking the legs over towards the right, head to left. And let the body hang. Lift the legs back to the center and roll it out to the second side. Almost said the last side there, but really that doesn't do it justice, does it really, when you've only got two sides. Next, the shoulders, the throat. Releasing the legs. Lift back up. Take the feet just as apart again. The hands come alongside the body this time, and the shoulders underneath, ready for bridge pose. So heels very slightly turned out. And take the lower back into the floor, get that long spine, draw the belly in and start to lift the tailbone a little. And exhale, hips towards the sky, pressing down through the shoulders and the arms just a little bit to help. Lengthening the knees away, we'll take a breath at the top. And then roll the spine gently back down to the floor with control. Breath in with the back flat to the floor. Gradually tuck the tailbone up as you start to exhale, letting the hips follow. So it looks like it flows up as one seamless movement, stretching and lengthening, but break it down into phases. You take the breath at the top, roll the spine down again. Gentle lift. Try again to keep the knees over the feet rather than letting them splay out to the side. For some of us, we have to get a little sense of rotating the thighs in as the legs get a little more tired. So 2 more of these. I'm trying to get a sense of both buttocks feeling like they're doing the same amount of work. I just want them to activate to the same level. Ask yourself, can you feel both buttocks working as you stretch those knees forwards at the top? Spreading the low between the thighs, the back of the hamstrings, and the buttocks. Knees and elbow down. I'll take the arms wide again, in line with the chest. Let the knees come together and just walk the feet out a little further. So we can take that same twist that we had before. We're just going to scissor it out. The option to turn the head is purely one of choice. Try and let that bottom leg sink down. And now I'm going to see if I can press the inner thigh of the top leg towards the ground. Now, some people are going to be able to get that all the way to the floor, but for many of us, that's going to be an interesting idea. Releasing that effort, bringing the legs carefully back up. Roll out to the opposite side. And starting to work that top leg down onto the floor a little. So progressive loading into the legs. We'll bring both knees back up. As we do, we'll walk the feet into the center line and bring the heels in towards the buttock. Once you're flat to the floor with your spine, let the right leg come in, take the hands around the shin and slide the left leg out down the center line. And then from that leg away, press the heel, the calf, and the buttock down gently as you let that right knee migrate towards your armpit, close in towards your body. And try to send the tailbone away a little as you do so. And then out through the long leg. Toes towards sky. You can spread the toes a little in the left foot, and if you want to, the right foot as well. And then we'll release from that. Bring the feet to the floor, slide the legs back in, change over the opposite side. Slide that right leg out. Let them release again, and let the feet come in close to the bottom. Take the right knee in towards the chest, take the hands around the back of the thigh, extend that leg up towards the sky, above the hip. Press the hamstring into the hands, get a little stretch around the shoulders. Lift the hip up, drawing there. Sorry, lifting the hip. Lifting the hip is not a tool. So draw the hip down. Lift the foot up towards the sky. And we'll ease the foot down to the floor. Cross it over. From that, leg high, hip down. Better that side. And spread the toes if you can. Have the foot running from top to bottom of the mat rather than rolling out to the side. So adjust the thigh inwards if you need to straighten the foot a little more. And then we can release that back down. So for the eagle-eyed amongst you, you'll notice I slid the block underneath the back of the head craftily. And I'm going to move into happy baby. So for me, using the block under the head for happy baby is a good thing to do, especially when I'm cold in the morning. If I've done lots of vinyasas, not needed, but a slower pace is required. With the knees out wide, chin towards chest. Slide your hands along the shins and then take the hands over the feet, taking hold of little toes, keeping the knees low. You'll take the feet up directly above the knees. So your feet are as wide apart as your knees are wide. And then lay your head back down to the block or the floor and roll your tailbone down progressively into the ground. So sometimes you have to kind of wriggle and release the shoulders a little bit, or you keep that strong grip. Release those feet gently to the floor. And we're ready for Shavasana. So you can keep the knees high if you want, feet wide and the knees rock together, or you can take the more classic version with the feet out to the corner edges, hands alongside the body, and just let the shoulders relax down. Again, you might want to move the block out of the way, or if it feels comfy in the shoulders, just start craning the head back, and a good thing to do. Continue to wriggle those fingers and toes. Let the wrists and the ankles join in. Breathe a little deeper. And then take it into a stretch. If we slide the heels along the ground, the legs in towards us, and then towards the body slowly, just taking a little hug, nice and gentle. Roll carefully onto our right side as we breathe in. Knees in towards the body. I'll use the hands to press into the floor. Lift myself slowly back up to a sitting posture. And we're done. Sitting tall, hands in towards the heart. Take a breath in, closing the eyes. As we exhale, let the chin drop, draw the belly in and bow gently to the floor. In your practice. Use the breath to come back in and lift the spine. Let the head to lift, eyes open. Namaste. Thank you for joining. Have a nice day. See you on the mat soon.